There's a company up in Chattanooga, Tennessee called RMJ Tactical, and a buddy of mine who is just one of the most gangster human beings I've ever known. They make all these cool knives and tomahawks, and he carried one of their tomahawks made out of some kind of crazy alloy. He took it with him to Afghanistan, and one of our planes went down, and some Taliban guys were trying to like overrun it. His guys like pinned down those guys, suppressive fire, and they used that tomahawk to chop the canopy out of this fighter plane to get this dude out. So these things are made, they're like lightweight. It's like the Native American tomahawk turned into some kind of tactical weapon in modern age. And he and I went up to their factory. Of course, he does like endorsements for them. We went up there a couple of years ago, and they were super cool, just making all their own shit, very craftsman style. And they watched some of my videos, and they gave me a tomahawk, kind of a Vietnam era style one. That's what the tunnel rat guys preferred to carry with. So I've had this thing for a couple of years, and I had it with me last year when we were on our way back from the Key West Prudhoe Bay run. And what we had done is we took a 84 Suburban that a buddy of mine owned, and he'd put an 850 horsepower LS motor in it and a parachute, which I built onto the back, and some drag tires. And me and it was David and Bradley, we drove that truck from Atlanta to Key West, turned around and got the long distance award to drive it all the way to Alaska for Alaska Drag Week, where there's like a drag and drive event. You like drag race at one track, drive the same car you raced in to the next track, race it, drive the same car. It keeps people from building like trailer queen cars and having something that you can actually drive on the road,
and
as well as
road
race
trip
it.
out of the whole thing.
Oh yeah, we ended up going up to Prudhoe Bay, Alaska. We lapped all over. We ended up driving 17,000 miles on this road trip.
Jesus.
And, at one point, we crossed, of course, you can't bring in guns or knives or anything like that into Canada. But I had this tomahawk tucked back in my camping gear because, we never knew if we were going to get stuck out somewhere. And sure enough, we did. You can imagine a 800 horsepower, 40-year-old Chevy Suburban, something's going to break. And especially after thousands and thousands of miles of potholes and washboard, this area called Destruction Bay, just these really, really terrible roads. We're driving along, and we are like 150 miles from a cell phone signal, 300 miles from a town. We're in like as far out in the Yukon territory as you can get. And we're driving along, and we hit this really, really bad bump. And all of a sudden the engine just like shoots up in rev, starts making some bad noises. We're kind of already off on this little spur road from the big gravel road that nobody drives on anyway. We pull over, and sure enough, like, we had just passed a whole family of brown bears, and brown bears are like grizzly bears. Like, they're not like the little black bear, ditch bears we got around here. They're like the eat you from the back end out, kind of paws the size of your head, bad bears. So we just passed these bears, and now the truck's dead. And we're like, shit, like this is not going to go well. So we got no weapons, no guns, nothing like that, but I had my tomahawk. So we popped the hood. What has happened is like, the entire turbo manifold, exhaust manifold has broken off from the head pretty much. I just cracked. Turbo, the whole exhaust kit went with it. Not my friend, but the guy who had started this truck before my friend got a hold of it had sort of hung the whole exhaust cutout and everything. And even in a V8, I guess it has an Chevy LS in it. Once you run it through a turbo, it becomes a big 8-into-1 exhaust. So it's got one big exhaust pipe going out the back. That whole thing is just cracked off. So we are like, shit, like we are 1,000 miles from a car parts store, hundreds of miles from a cell phone signal. We can't drive it like this because it's so close to the combustion chamber. It's just going to melt the pistons out of this thing. So we got to fix it. So a ways back, there was a sign and like a bear-proof trash can with this little, like a wooden base. And I took the tomahawk out, and I pried it out of, like, I pried the board off. I owe the California Highway a board, by the way. We stole the board, come back, and I proceeded to take the tomahawk and like chop it into this really intricate shape that we were able to like kind of wedge into the firewall, brace the whole turbo and everything else going into the kind of core support up in the front. We build this big splint. We take a bunch of drink cans we found on the side of the road. We use the tomahawk to like cut the aluminum up because these things are like these RMJ tomahawks, like they will literally, you can chop through concrete with these things. Like the metal is just made out of like mithril and adamantium or something. Like, you just it's amazing. So we're like, having just chopped this thing into wood, we're like cutting the cans. We make all these heat shields and put sticks in there to make air spaces, and we ratchet strap it all together. We get this whole thing. This takes we spend about 18 hours out in the bush building parts for this truck out of a tomahawk. And by the way, also sharpening sticks to like ward off the bears, which are in the area. They did not roll up on us, but like we're basically taking turns. Like somebody's got the spear, somebody else is working on the truck. We're kind of taking turns doing watch, sleeping in the truck. We're out there for like a day and a half, build all these parts out of wood for the truck, ratchet it all back together. We like, pulled the vacuum line on the blow off valve and went on the wastegate. He got in a little bit of electricity we had left. He got in with the computer, kind of pulled some timing out of the motor, made it run as cool as we could, and then limped it like 150 miles to some oil station where, thank God, the guy actually watches Venwick and had seen some of my videos and welded the thing back for us. But anyhow, so I see the RMJ guys. I go to the Atlanta Blade Show a couple of weeks ago. I see the RMJ guys there, and I tell them this story, and they ended up being interested in the Alaska trip, which I'm about to go to. And so they kind of took me on as I guess they are my sponsor. I don't know why that makes me a sponsor. I've never really had like material sponsors, but they gave me not only some gas money for this trip and some swag. I got one of their shirts on here, but they gave me a new Tomahawk, which this thing is like if I had to go hand to hand with anything, it would be this Tomahawk. The handle is rated for like 7,000 volts. So like it's meant for like chopping into, like if a helicopter goes down in the sand, it builds up a lot of static. It's for chopping into those. If you were like a first responder person, you can use the hook. This is sharpened. The beard is sharpened on the back here, but you can like hook stuff, pull it. You can stab it into like a piece of wood, pull it out. This will chop through like concrete. But if you chop into like a main electrical line, it won't kill you.
So you're onto something here, that it uses a metal called CPM 3V, which meant nothing to me, so I had to Google it. It's a powder metallurgy tool steel, and it says it's more than double the toughness of A2 steel. It's usually used in machining parts that are meant to machine things, but it's there in a Tomahawk. They've also got some cool knives.
Oh yeah, they make some amazing stuff.
A little expensive, $500 or $600. So
this thing is like $700, but it is, as a guy who drives a $200 car, it is worth it. This is like this thing.
Your car gets stolen, you're like, my Tomahawk.
Oh my God. If I had to have one tool out in the wilderness to survive, it would be this thing. I'm not just kissing their ass. They make legitimately good stuff. I've had one of their Tomahawks for 5 years now. This is the new one, but I've still got the other one. Dude, you can hit rocks, you can hit concrete, bricks, you can chop through metal. Like it's literally meant to hack through other pieces of metal, which, the kind of runs we do with the cannonball stuff and some of these adventure trips, we get cars like as far out into the wilderness as you can drive in North America. That's how far out we drive. We've been on glaciers, we've been out in some crazy places. And yeah, this thing, man, I'm kind of like hoping some crazy shit goes down in Alaska next week. Cause like, I want to be the guy that just comes like off the top rope with thank God I got my Tomahawk here. Right. But anyway, so I'm really stoked to be working with these guys though. Like this thing is, and I'm not just like, for example, like I don't really like Pepsi. I'm a Coca-Cola guy, but like if Pepsi came along, like, yeah, I'd probably take their money. But like this stuff, like I've legitimately had their stuff for half a decade and it is the shit. And they've got some really funny stuff. Like read their item descriptions. Like they've got this whole line of like clubs and brass knuckles. They have a set of brass knuckles called Snuckles. They have another big like war hammer called Snuggle or Cuddles. That's like this big spiky. Cuddles. Like they've got some legit weapons out there that you could tear some shit up with. But anyway, they're super cool guys. This stuff is like all handmade. It's all made in America. All the materials come from America. They are really like walking the walk. But if you've never had a military grade weaponized Tomahawk in your hand, it is satisfying.
What kind of pussy doesn't have any military grade Tomahawks?
Yeah,
I'm telling you. In Vietnam, that guy,
I really wish we all had better Tomahawks. Like right now.
I tell you, I'm not I'm more of the like Indiana Jones, pull the gun out, shoot somebody kind of type of guy. Probably, sure. I'm not like a combatant. But like, man, if I did have to go like up against a bear or a person or something, this thing you can push with it, you can stab with it, you can hook with it, like you could deflect other stuff. It's like good in like close quarters. Like you don't need to like you can do like front stroke, back stroke.
But like a bear's gonna fuck you up.
Yeah. A bear.
Please, Taylor, you don't think
a brown bear?
Am I gonna
100-pound brown bear?
All right, Taylor. First of all, that's racist. They don't like to be called that.
What? Like that.
That's African
And
American.
second, I can take a
Don't
bear.
raise it.
I don't care what color it is. I'm colorblind to bears, but I can take them all.
I know that. Actually, when you were out there in the wilderness, were you just giving spear sharpening duty to like the one guy?
I couldn't hear that.
Oh shit! We've been having glitches on your camera as well the past few minutes. But is he there? I don't know.
Can you hear us? Nope. He
No.
froze. Probably not.
I was imagining that like if I were on that
I'm losing
expedition,
audio.
I would be the person tasked with like sharpening sticks because I would have no skill set in the fixing part of it, and that would be a thing like keeping me busy. Because like if a brown bear gets up on you, there's no way a spear made by me is going to do anything other than prolong my death experience.
Then why would I let you make the spear?
Because you're you know about cars. The
Because he's
manifold.
a child that you're
engines.
pacifying and occupying.
Yeah.
Okay, Taylor. I know you have a a big feelings right now.
Absolutely.
Kyle,
make
don't
the
be
spears?
mad. I ate all the food.
And I saw a squirrel and I threw your knife at it and I missed and I don't know where the knife is now.
Okay, you guys are busy. You're gonna kill me. I was listening to the radio in the car and it
Battery's dead.
I was talking my phone because I've been playing Temple Run. And
I wonder if you could self-power your alternator and recharge your battery.
They did it on Breaking Bad.
Did they? Like with human power, they turned the alternator backwards.
oh yeah, they did.
Yeah,
and
something
charged
went
battery?
wrong where they broke the generator. So Walt just spent like the whole night spinning the internals of a generator to produce electricity and charge a battery. to start the RV.
I am losing you guys.
Yeah,
Is that just on my end, or is that happening to y'all too?
It's you,
Yeah,
Chris.
it's just you.
It's your internet. It would probably be your internet.
probably just
Yeah, it's been glitching out ever since we started talking about bear. I reset the
that's what'll
router.
do it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, try that.
Yeah, we'll reset the router.
So Kyle a while ago was talking about videos he likes to watch while he's high, and it kicked off this thought process for Colin watches videos of dominoes falling like again and again and again for like hours, just dominoes falling. And from my perspective, it's just audio abuse. It's really hard to be in the same room.
Yeah, that sounds
But it's
bad.
like, yeah, autism, silly kids. Not me, but if you need me, I'll be over here watching football videos sync to Here Comes the Boom for the next
I'll be watching a man dressed like he was born in 1690 making historical pies. Shout out Townsend and Sons. Dude, I'd love to get that guy on the show in full regalia so I could learn more about the past. I don't think he'd vibe with us. Actually, no, I don't want to do that to his image.
No, we could get along with someone like that. I was toying with the idea of having that Steve MRE guy, but it's like, what do you talk about once you get past the MRE questions? You never know if someone has.
What's the best thing you've ever eaten? What's the worst thing you've ever eaten?
That's a show.
What do you do when you're not eating? You look fit. You do a lot of pull-ups.
We watched the hardtack guy. Which one is he?
The hardtack guy is Townsend and Sons. Was he all dressed up?
I think so.
Yeah,
and Jackie and I watched him just explain the history of hardtack and that I guess old-timey sailors.
Yeah.
Old-timey sailors.
We should probably just cut Christopher there.
His
he doesn't even
internet's
understand that it's his end.
I think he's trying to reset his router.
He's like, you got something's wrong over there. It's all glitchy.
I had a paramotor instructor say this about me. He's like, Woody, you're the kind of guy that when you're driving down the highway and on the radio they warn, careful, there's a crazy person going the wrong way. You're like, one crazy person, they're all going the wrong way. That reminded me of Christopher being like, everyone's internet's bad but mine. Weird.
Wait, did Jackie like Townsend and Sons?
He didn't really bring it, that video, from our perspective. She felt like it was
Watch
a little
the salt
slow
pork
paced.
video.
maybe we
It's got to be about something you love.
It's got to be about something you love. There's got to be passion to it. Yeah. Or the
I'm not into it either.
The fat oh my god! You come on.
I mean, I don't want to shit
fat
on your
guys,
passion here.
There's two different fat chefs, like very.
So
fat.
those of you who don't know, he's talking about a
Black
YouTube
guy
channel
and the
called-
white guy, and they both do really good extra like in detail cooking videos for him. They're good. Watch them.
I definitely wouldn't watch I just don't think I care about the historical nature of it, nor do I benefit from the culinary nature of it. Does that make sense? So now I'm just looking for entertainment, and he's very dry. So I've lost. If there's a pyramid of entertainment,
personified.
He's tough and long lasting and old and bland. So bland. I really appreciate his passion for what he does. I can appreciate that in anyone who makes content of any kind. You can tell when someone really loves what they're doing and what they're talking about. And he's that. But I'm usually fucking bored by him, and I just want to watch like a police shooting. I want to watch somebody again try to stab the police and fail. That's my bag.
I want something a lot more mellow when I'm like sitting there late at night and I'm a little high. Like, I don't want to watch people getting shot and hurt. I want to watch this guy be like, today we're going to explore what sailors were eating in 1704. And I'm like, tell me about it in your goofy hat.
You should check out the woodworking corner of YouTube. They're incredibly competent. Their production quality is amongst the highest on the channel. Their audio is perfect. A lot of it's voiceover, but even if it's in shop, it's great.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll like go through their thought process on how they design some exotic piece of furniture by showing you CAD drawings of the different versions that they sketched up along the way. And there's hilarious jokes. And YouTube is the woodworking part of YouTube is highly competitive, and they're all racing to the top to make better and better videos than each other. I
would watch that. I don't need to like be into that, like into the hobby or the craftsmanship to appreciate it. Like, I've spent hours over the years watching different sushi masters like carve up fish.
Mm-hmm.
I watched honestly, now I'm thinking about it, I probably watched an hour-long video of a guy butchering a cow and quartering it and showing all the different cuts of meat and like where he started and where he went to.
All right, I'd watch that. That sounds good.
See, that was sick. It was good.
Wait, what does it look like when he begins? Is it like really sanitized? Like it's already like
It's a white room and it's like a literal half cow hanging.
Is it hair on it?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe not. I don't know. This was years ago, but it was a great video regardless. I remember enjoying it. Yeah.
Yeah, I can get that.
Well, I lost you guys right after we were talking about fighting a bear with a tomahawk, and as soon as that started, everybody sounded like Stephen Hawking on an auto tuner, and now I'm back, and now we're killing cows. So I think
we're killing all sorts of animals. Yeah. I was going to ask when you were in that situation with the spears, did you you just gave that task to the most useless person, right? Like, yeah, you go sharpen spears for the bears.
Oh, well, it was just two of us at that point. So it was just whoever was working on the truck, the other one was manning the spear. Like it was, or a spear. Like it was just kind of a,
Oh, I imagined a bigger group too.
Yeah, because there was.
So the spear wasn't a silly task to like con some child into thinking he was being useful against a grizzly bear.
Nah, this is more like life raft situation. This was like two dudes in a 40-year-old Suburban broken down 200 miles out in the wilderness. So there was like not a lot of. There was nobody to recruit. It was just like, okay, I'll hold the spear while you work on the truck, and then you work on the truck, and I'll hold the spear. And yeah,
it's crazy to think if I were alone in that situation, I would have died. Like I'd be like, how do cars work? And I'd be like, fuck, I should have learned this.
Well, I mean, somebody would have come along eventually, and a couple cars came through. I mean, we had it under control. But now, if you're not even in remote areas like that, even way out on like the Dalton Highway between Cold Foot and Prudhoe Bay, I mean, there's a trucker along every 30 minutes or so. So you'd really have to try hard to be like a dried up skeleton eaten by bears next to your car. But definitely needed something. I mean, would I want to go toe to toe with a bear with a spear? Hell no. But the top, whatever it is, the bear's probably going to win, but I'm going to go out swinging. So yeah, spear.
It's definitely going to win.
I don't have a vibe for the answer to this question, but can a Suburban protect you from a brown bear, from a grizzly bear?
Oh, hell no.
If it's not motivated.
I've seen a bear open the top of a door frame like a mailbox, like just like going for like, Cheez-Its or something. Just walk up and just bend it down. Oh yeah. A bear would the only thing might save you is the bear is like so big that he might not be able to reach all the way in. Like if you could like hide in
Jurassic
opposite
Park.
sides of the car. But oh yeah, it'd just tear the door right off. I mean, they're really that strong. They're just,
Yeah.
we just
Want
try
you
not to
that
be that
bad.
motivated.
Yeah.
Remember
we
all the
didn't have
arguments we used to have back in the day about the because it used to be a big internet thing where people were like, "Oh, silverback gorilla versus a grizzly bear," and then you actually do like a tail of the tape, and it's like, "Oh, it wouldn't just be the grizzly would kill it before it really realized it was in like it wouldn't be a put up your dukes fight. Like the gorilla would get butt fucked so hard and so immediately."
What is the weight difference? Do you have any idea?
It's like a factor
like 3
of 2.
or 4 to 1.
Yeah, like at least double. I think it's like closer to 3 times as much. And it's like 9 feet tall. And claws are so much better than fingernails.
Oh yeah,
I'm not going to say that bears
big gorillas like 700-800 pounds, big bears like 2,000 pounds.
But I feel like bears are less danger per pound, right? Like if you see them without fur, they're kind of fat. They wouldn't win any beauty contest. Gorillas, on the other hand,
they're jacked. But think about this: it's kind of like if
bears
you took
are jacked.
the bears are jacked. If you took Brian Shaw,
They're jacked.
yeah, they're
not.
huge.
They're fat.
They're as strong as bears can get, which is so strong.
Zach, can you find a hairless
bears are
bear?
Zach, please
under
find
the
me
fat.
that gif of the 2 adult grizzlies like duking it out by a river. They're in like a marshy type area, and there's like huge muscles rippling, and they're just
But they're have
swinging
fur
around.
on. Yeah,
Oh, come on, that's not. I don't even know what that is.
I could fuck that bear
No,
up.
a grizzly bear.
That is a grizzly bear.
That is
You
a
just don't see
female
them without
black
fur.
bear who was dying.
Yeah,
That's a sick
that is
black bear.
Well done,
that is
Zach.
not
There's a
that is
bonus
not
to
grizzly
the-
bear
I can see
physique
that
there.
bear's cooter. That's how I know that's a sick bear.
Yeah,
we were
that's
out
not
in
a
we were in
threatening bear.
That's
Denali
a
and had a
typical
bear,
bear.
come past the vehicle we were in, and like a full size grizzly bear is the size of a tall car.
Can you imagine?
Man.
Have you heard tale of Woody the bear fighter? He's
Oh,
slain
God.
30 of the beasts in a day.
That's like Winnie the Pooh after he's been on meth.
That's a dog.
Oh man,
These sick fucking bears.
Yeah, I don't like these pictures.
these are sad.
Taylor was a mean
But
bear.
That bear would
It's a
still
big
kick your
punish.
ass.
Oh, yeah. Any bear is going to kick your ass if it's motivated.
That's not true. There's like a beaver next to it. Like,
Yeah, that's like a
That's like a coonskin cap.
That's a sick raccoon.
I could fuck that bear up.
That is a sick raccoon, isn't it?
You
Yeah,
guys
it's a bald
can't
raccoon.
take bears like me. You're not
It's looking
trained.
at you like, why do I still exist?
Yeah. No,
It's so cold in here.
All right. In fairness to you, Zach,
I'm a
there are not a
raccoon.
lot
We
of
don't
good
know how to
photos of
shiver.
hairless grizzly bears online.
Yeah.
You know why? Because you try and shave one. It's gonna fuck you up.
I did.
Yeah,
you
when-
saw the results.
when we were up at the oil station up on the coast of the Arctic Ocean up in Prudhoe, all the buildings there, most of them are on like skids, because if you built a building with a regular foundation, the heat would melt the permafrost and your building would sink. So all the buildings are up on these like 10-foot skids. They move them around with tractors and shit. And there's pipes and all this equipment. It's not like a town. It's like a moon base.
Yeah.
And like the little hotel we stayed at was like a sort of like a thing, like it's almost like that thing in the abyss, like on the bottom of the ocean. It's like this little tube, and we all kind of live in it. But the
Fuck
steps going up to it, because the polar bears roll up on you, like every other step was like it was like that metal like construction, like steps you take up on like a bulldozer or something. Every other step had a 2x12 with like 4-inch screws and bolts like poking up out of it. So as a person, you would skip every other one. That's to keep the bears from stepping on it. At the door, there's no locks on any of the doors. Like if a bear rolls up, you can reasonably confidently run to any door and it will be open, so you can try to get in.
Yeah.
They have like inside the doors, they have like pepper spray, like bear spray hanging on a string by the door. There's a bucket of spikes. So like if you could get in the door, you can like barricade the door with something and use the sticks to like poke the bear away while you're spraying the bear, hoping the bear steps on the spiky strips. And then like the unused door in the building, they had piled all of the exercise equipment from the gym and just like barricaded the door with a Nautilus machine. Like it was crazy. And like I went out, just kind of walking around the oil station, which is big. I mean, it's miles across, looking at all these cool trucks, these big monster truck tires and shit on them. And like, you got to keep your head on swivel, because like the polar bears will straight up roll up on people. And like, there's just nothing you can do. I mean, they can run 40 miles an hour and they're 11 feet tall, and they can turn a car over and tear a door off its hinges. Like they can smell
the
you.
largest land
10
predator in the
miles
world.
away. I'm sorry.
It's the biggest land predator in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, there's just nothing you can do. Like, like if it's a territorial thing with a grizzly bear, you might could play dead. If it's like a black bear, you might could bluff it. Like a polar bear, it's just going to eat you. Like there's just nothing. There's nothing.
Yeah, those other bears you mentioned are mostly omnivores, whereas the polar bear just eats meat. So
just eat meat. Supposedly their liver's got like a fatal level of vitamin A in it to us for that very reason.
Yeah. They're eating
we
so
saw
much
one like maybe 5 miles out. And I say I saw a polar bear, meaning that like there was a white dot out on the horizon, which, the last 150.
You're coming off as a bit of a sissy. Polar bears are not that scary.
Well, that's pretty fucking cute.
The last 200 miles to Prudhoe is just a straight road across grass. I mean, there's nothing out there. And we saw like a white dot probably 4 or 5 miles out that had to have been a polar bear because it wouldn't have been anything else. But man, that was as close as I wanted to get because those things are, I mean, they're cool looking. And when you see them like
closer
playing with and stuff, rolling around and playing with their babies, like they're cute, but like their paw is the size of like your torso. I mean, they're just massive. And they are starting to see grizzly bears crossbreeding with polar bears now.
Polar bears.
Because they're, their habitat, their ice shelf is melting, so they can't get back on the float ice. So they're hanging out through the breeding season and, hooking up with
there is a Pisley crowd, but get out of here with that.
But they,
I don't think I've ever seen one.
But a growler bear seems less scary, right? Like, I mean,
and it rolls off the tongue.
Oh, I love the name. Let's set that issue aside. I'm finished.
Growler bear, you say? I like that. Is that what you said? I like that name.
A purebred polar bear is bigger and scarier than a grizzly bear, right? So you're just diluting and sort of downgrading.
I think you more,
but it's like going from like a cruise missile to a bazooka, though. I mean, like you're still like slightly less, but it's also like an extra jacked grizzly bear, which is already one of the most terrifying animals on the planet. So, he's pretty cute, though. He looks like you could snuggle him, but I have a feeling that you could not.
He looks sad.
He does look kind of sad.
Oh, okay. This guy's like scratching his ass. He's having a blast. He's like, that rock right there. Getting there deep.
But like for perspective, like you couldn't put your arms around that thing's neck because it's that jacked. Yeah. Like it's too big to hug him.
Big. I don't think I've ever seen one. I know I've seen black bears in the wild, or not in the wild, but at like when you go to Pigeon Forge, they have this wildlife thing where it's kind of in the wild. They're fenced.
Yeah, Roaring Fork. That's really cool.
Zach, can you find a picture of somebody holding a polar bear's paw, like for perspective?
Yeah, I know. There was always the story that they had the big mounted grizzly at the Alaska airport when you flew in, and to give people who were like tourists, I guess, some perspective into what they were talking about if they're going bear watching or bear hunting or bear looking or whatever. They're gargantuan. The bear can stand up and put its front paws on like a one-story house's roof. That looks cool, right?
I guess you could cuddle them.
And that's not a full size one because I've stood next to some taxidermied ones, and I mean obviously see them in the zoos and stuff, but yeah, I mean they're cute and they look like a big white German Shepherd. That's pretty funny. But yeah, I mean, and like how fast. That's what they were telling us up at the oil station too. They were like, these things can sprint at 40 miles an hour. So like, don't get out of your car to take a picture of it because it will close a gap on you like way faster than you think. And, but again, tomahawk, if I had to pick a weapon, it would be the tomahawk, but, I'm going to go out
poorly. You need a shotgun to slug yourself.